We can all agree that sleep is great. I mean, who doesn't like getting a solid night's sleep and wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go? But unfortunately, getting routinely regular sleep is something a lot of people struggle with or simply just don't prioritize. So, today we are going to talk all about sleep and how to improve it. I know for me personally, sleep was never that much of a priority in my life until I realized how much it actually impacted my overall health, happiness, performance, and energy. And for someone that cares about all of those things tremendously, this is where I needed to make it better. Before realizing how important it is, my sleep was literally all over the place. Super late nights in school, partying all night, drinking too much in college, and then super early mornings during the week, but then sleeping in on the weekends. Like my schedule was just like I would go to bed so late and then wake up late, and then maybe I'd wake up earlier. Like it was all over the place. And then on top of the lack of routine, I also had zero sleep hygiene, meaning my sleep was like hit or miss on whether I was actually able to like drift off into REM sleep or just kind of going through the motions. I remember being in this really bad relationship and I would utilize sleep aids like pills, Mary Jane, NyQuil, all to be able to like actually get myself to sleep and stay asleep. And honestly, I was kind of numbing the pain of not really being in a good place in my relationship, but also so stressed out about what was going on in my early 20s life. But it wasn't until I got out of the relationship and about a year and a half into another one, currently Teddy, that I realized how much it was not serving me at all anymore. Getting better sleep improved my mental clarity, my energy, emotional stability, hunger cues, recovery, and overall performance in business and in the gym. So if you're ready to improve your sleep, and with that, your entire life, listen in as I share how to create an evening routine, tips for better sleep, and how to potentially get your partner on board with this as well. All right. So, in pursuit of better sleep, I started experimenting with different ways to wind down at night and created my ideal routine that helps me shift from go, go, go mode to rest mode before I actually sleep. And again, this is coming from someone that has a very scattered brain. My brain feels like it never turns off. I have tried all of the things in the book to make to be able to meditate and be able to be quiet and inward with myself. And I never really feel like I figured it out until I figured out my evening routine, figured out my sleep, and figured out what kind of meditation worked best for me. Now, here is my evening routine step by step. It's going to sound like a lot, but I promise it's like very basic stuff, like closing the blinds before dinner. The sun sets later now. Of course, we're in the summertime. So I actually close the blinds before we eat to kind of wind myself down. Even if we go on a walk after dinner or go outside, this actually just helps me kind of get into the mood of like starting to wind down. Then once dinner is done, typically we would try to have no phones after dinner. Now we're still watching a screen because we'll watch TV a little bit later, but there will be no phones. So we plug them in and put them away. When we watch a show, I always do 10 to 15 minutes of mobility before I actually sit on the couch and watch the actual show. And this has been super helpful for obviously a lot of reasons because my flexibility and mobility has improved. And I really do feel like it helps me kind of wind down to get ready to go to sleep as well. I always eat some sort of dessert. Typically, this happens right after I do mobility. And I have a Yasso bar. Shout out Yasso. If you want to sponsor me ever, I would love that. I love your bars so much. Yasso bar. It's basically a Greek yogurt ice cream bar. So there's protein in it. Or I have some sort of we got a Ninja Creamy, so maybe I'll have protein ice cream or I'll have a chocolate or whatever. So then after that, I watch a show. It's usually we're watching The Bear right now or the Olympics. The Olympics are obviously longer than a normal TV show, so it's a little bit longer. But 30 to 60-minute show. And then we go upstairs or go into the bedroom to get ready for bed. At this point, there's some skincare that happens. We brush our teeth and just kind of like get ourselves ready to bed. I always put out what I'm wearing the night before. So I have my like outfit ready, set out. So I can just wake up and go. And then when I'm actually in bed, I look over to my husband and I say, "What are you grateful for today?" And we do a little gratitude always. I typically at that point do maybe a very slight breath work, 3 to 5 breaths, or maybe I check in with my body. One thing I've been really, really loving is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got it from Mel Robbins. I think she might have gotten it from someone else, but um, I keep my eyes open for this. 5 things I see, 4 things I feel, 3 things I hear, 2 things I smell, and 1 thing I taste. And so going through those has been really helpful to just be mindful and intuitive with my body. Another example of that could be it's like a yoga nidra, which would be like you're going through each body part. That's been super helpful for me too. If I can't wind down my brain, I'll close my eyes and I'll literally go from my toes all the way to my head, front side of my body, and then back side of my body. If you want to just search yoga nidra, it's like a 30-minute thing, if that's helpful for you. I was listening to some meditations and stuff like that at night, but I didn't love to have my phone in the bedroom and I didn't want to have my headphones in my ears if I did end up falling asleep to it. So, got rid of that and kind of just found things that worked for myself. Then after that, like little mindfulness or breathing or something, I will read. And then I typically fall asleep while reading. I read nonfiction in the morning and fiction at night. Fiction is my go to get in a story that is totally different from my own. I love thrillers. And I love women empowerment, female empowerment stories right now. They're just the best. So that is my evening routine that has been so freaking awesome for the past like several years now. And creating an evening routine are just like there's tons of little tips and tricks you can use for better sleep. So there's no pressure to do my way. There's no pressure to do it as any of the tips I'm going to give you next. But that's really helped me. And honestly, like I know it sounds like a lot of things, but it's really just like habit stacking, right? Atomic Habits, James Clear. If, before we watch TV, I do mobility. Before I read, I do some mindfulness. After I brush my teeth, I ask Teddy what he's grateful for. So all those things are just stacking so that I can make sure that I'm doing them every day. Okay. So just a couple other things that I feel like has been really helpful for myself and clients in the past, if they cannot figure out how to get better sleep. Okay, so there's a bunch of supplements out there that you can take that would help with this. There's obviously melatonin, and that has worked for some people. There is CBD gummies. Soul CBD has this really awesome sleep gummy that I've been really, really enjoying. Every once in a while, if my brain is like just going, 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 and I can't slow it down, I'll take one of those, and it helps me stay calm. Another one is magnesium, and there's so many out there. There's a brand called Bio Optimizers that makes a great magnesium supplement. It's not too expensive. You can also order it through Amazon, but you can also ask your doctor or do some research on what the best supplement is best for you. You can also do a magnesium spray that soaks into your bloodstream for fast results at night before you go to bed. There's also magnesium drinks, and there's some like oils that you can do underneath your tongue, like Beam and Calm. Those are also some other brands that not sponsored, but just some that I've tried in the past that have been great. When I first started dating Teddy, actually, he had an essential oil diffuser in the room. And personally, I hated it. But I know that some people love it. So you can do a lavender essential oil. You can get a diffuser. You can spray on some like essential oils on your pillow before you go to bed if that helps like calm you. Awesome. Again, that wasn't for me, but I know that a lot of people absolutely love that. Okay, so there's red light blocking glasses and then the red light phone feature on your phone. Basically, all of our electronic devices and typical light bulbs give off a blue light, which tells our bodies it's daytime and time to work, like those blue blocker glasses, which is great throughout the day. But at night, we want our system to be like, okay, it's time to wind down now. I mean, we were never meant to be under bright lights and looking at screens every day, let alone all evening. So I mean, I've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to say it again. Put your phone in another room, put it on the floor away from you so you can't grab it. Honestly, my biggest recommendation is to put it in the bathroom or literally put it outside the door so that it's not next to you and you can't just like scoop it up. But some of those red light blocking glasses will help with this as well. Just one more thing I'll say on screens. I grew up with a TV in my room. And once I became an adult, I had a TV in my room as an adult. And then I was like, why is this here? And then when I moved in with Teddy, 10 years ago at this point, we decided not to put the TV in the room. And now I will never have a TV in the room. Like, why there's a TV in your room at all. No, we're not doing that. Not in this household. I really feel like that is it's just a recipe to be like, "Oh, I always need the TV on to fall asleep," or "I always have to, watch this specific thing." I promise you don't. You just have to retrain yourself to not have that anymore. Like, I used to be the same person. Same person. I'd be like, "Oh, I have to have a show on in order to fall asleep." I promise you don't. I promise. But yeah, you have to retrain your brain. Okay, dim the lights. Beyond getting red light glasses and turning your phone feature on, just make sure that your environment is less bright. Like I was saying, we put the blinds down, lots of mood lighting, or we dim the lights. That's also super helpful if you can. And then, like I was saying before about the CBD, there's CBD, sleepy tea, and just other ways to like wind down your body. Try some out, take the data, find what works best for you, right? We want to try it out for a couple of weeks before we're like, oh, that didn't work. I hated that. Because obviously your body needs time to adapt to it. So if you can, do it a few times a week, do it once over the weekend, make sure that you are actually at least giving it a try before you move on from it. Okay. Guided meditation, or some beats or some sounds. We have the Hatch alarm clock, which allows you to hear some sounds before you go to bed, and then it wakes you up with sunlight, basically. It's really soft lighting, and then it gets brighter as it gets closer to your alarm. So, also, again, not sponsored. It's also $100 alarm clock, but best $100 we've spent this year. Honestly, it's been so amazing. So, we have like thunderstorm sound when we go to bed, and you can also manage that for how long you want it to be on. If you know that you only need 30 minutes, you can do a whole hour. You can literally do the whole night. It could be white noise. Like, there's so many different sounds on there. And then in the morning, you can see the light kind of shift. I'll usually wake up in the like orange light, but it starts with red and then it goes orange, then it goes like a yellow light. So that's another really great way to wind yourself down. Sounds are super helpful for me personally. Some people don't like to hear anything. That's fine. You can also do some sort of meditation or mindfulness, some sort of guidance like the Calm app, or gosh, there's so many out there, or just YouTube or Spotify, just like sleeping meditation. The one other thing I will say in here as just a tip that you can use or not, try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. I know that's really hard, especially if you are a person that has to get up early for work during the week, but try as close as you can on the weekend to get up at that same time and go to bed at that same time. Now, of course, like as with everything, like events happen and life happens, or social or any kind of events like that might pop up, just as close as you possibly can. And know that, like, just because you did it 1 or 2 nights doesn't mean you have to do it every night, right? The closer you are, though, to that same routine or that same time, the better it'll feel and the easier it will feel to wind down and wake up in the morning. Now, in a perfect world, if you do all of those things for your evening routine, you're going to be set. But things can be different if your partner is not 100% on board, or if they just feel differently about going to sleep and waking up in the morning. And I want to offer some insights on what to do if your partner brings a phone into the bedroom, wants to watch TV late at night, for instance, or they're just have different sleep schedules than you. Now, in like a perfect world for myself, I would go to bed by like 9:30 and I would wake up at like 6. That is like in a perfect world. Doesn't always happen. Typically, I go to bed at like 10, wake up at like 6:30 or so. So I'm sleeping for 8 hours. If in a perfect world for him, he'd probably go to bed at like 11 or 12 and like wake up at like 8. He doesn't always do that. And he's actually like really great with staying on our sleep schedule. But honestly, he's just different and likes that. And for so long, I wanted him to like come up with me. And I really just got upset because he didn't want to cuddle with me or do our gratitude before bed. But now I'm just like, you do you. It's all good. The only time I'm getting upset now is because he wants to watch the Olympics without me. But the first step is to have an open conversation about it, being sure to phase it in a perspective of what you're needing versus what they're doing wrong. So, for example, you can say something like, I've noticed that when we have cell phones in the bedroom, I feel the urge to scroll and sit up and stay up too late. Really, I want to go to sleep earlier, and I just feel really refreshed when I wake up without the phone. Plus, the phones make me feel distracted and distant from spending time together, like before we go to bed. Could we start keeping both of our phones outside the bedroom at night? Just an example. The same goes for watching TV in the bedroom. And if they're insistent still on being their phone or watching before bed, you can always add a suggestion like, or if you'd like to keep watching TV, can you please do it in the living room and then come to bed when you're done? So that kind of gives them the ability to still do their thing and then come back to bed afterwards. At the end of the day, though, your sleep is your health. And if prioritizing that means setting boundaries with yourself and your partner, I promise you it is worth it. And if your partner cares about your health and happiness, they should see with time that sleep is important and hopefully they support you in that. Well, also at the same time, they are seeing sleep improvements in their own sleep as well. Now, I definitely should have prefaced this with saying I am not a parent. I've never had a newborn or an infant. So if you are in that phase of life, please disregard all of this. You've got to do what's best for you and your family. So don't listen to me if you're hearing this as a new parent and being like, "Oh yeah, she thinks sleep's it's important." But I have never had a newborn in the house. So I don't know how hard it will be with that. All right. So sleep is underrated. It's not talked about enough in the health and wellness world. Please, please, please do not forget this very important aspect of your fitness journey. And of course, if you love this episode, please share it out with friends and family, rate and review so I can continue to give you free education, motivation, and support. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great night's sleep tonight. Bye.